Hey guys, it's fall time. What does that mean? Football season, of course. But seriously, we got a great video for you. Fall, things are trying to get into your house. We're going to tell you what they are and how to get rid of them. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel. Craig here again, howtopest.com. Today's video, we told you, is a doozy. It is a problem that a lot of you have encountered. It's been a nightmare situation for you, and you've probably paid a lot of money if you've hired somebody to do this, because it is a very detailed job, and that's why they charge you the money to do it if they do it right. What is it? Rodents.
Rats. Rats. Rats.
We're talking rodents in the house, rodents in the attic, rodents in the garage. What are you going to do? You're going to freak out. Your wife's going to beat you. She's going to call the exterminator. I don't know, but it's going to get crazy in your household. So we're going to show you how to avoid that. Today, we are going to show you strictly how to trap. No poisons involved. Those will be in other videos. But today is how to trap those rodents, how to seal it up, and how to get your casa back. Guys, these are the two traps that I like. Jaws, easy set trap. And the old General right here. This is OG Victor Snap Trap. These are still a great go-to, but some people just don't like to deal with the setting of this trap, because if this hits your finger, no bueno, and it could break it. So let's show you how to set these traps and how you should place them. Let's start with the Victor Snap Trap. It is going to come with this little hooped staple over it. It's just to keep this for in transit. What you do is you just take this, put your finger here, little pressure, boom, it pops off, throw it in the trash, you're done. Let's look at this trap up close. Do you see the F? Do you see the S? Okay, professional, so you know you're doing the right thing right there. Firm, sensitive. Almost 9 times out of 10, it's on the sensitive. Why is that? The firm is so it's not as sensitive. When you set it, let's say you're going to put it on something that vibrates. Example, ductwork in an attic. If you ever do that, you're going to want that thing to be a little more firm. I don't even recommend putting it on the ductwork, so just go to the sensitive side. All you do is when you set it, you slide it over to the S side. I'm going to show you. Grab the trap with your non-dominant hand. I'm left-handed. Take your dominant hand. Put this spring back. Stay out of this range or you're going to break your finger. I'm not joking. I'll give you a story. Put it back like that. You're still holding. You're in control. You're not in the area of danger. Step back to the back. Hold it down with your non-dominant thumb. Take the wire. Slip it over. You're still in control. Put it on the sensitive side and slowly start to raise that and release pressure off the back here until you feel this thing grab, like so. Move your hand out of the way. Come back to here. And now remove your thumb. You've protected yourself the whole time. Now here's my story. I had leather gloves on. I was in an attic checking these traps. A bead of sweat fell off of my head, my forehead, onto that trigger. My hand went here, the bead went here, and this thing snapped on my finger. I'm not going to lie, I screamed like a little you-know-what. And the customer down below thought I was dying in their attic. Luckily, the leather gloves, I think, stopped my finger from being broke. It swole up really big, and I was in pain for about a week. So do not get your finger caught in these, or pets, or little children. So you got to protect these from those things. Now, when this trap is set, we'll go ahead and we'll spring this one. This is Jaws. This is so easy. This is why customers love them. See the bait tray in the middle? It's real simple. You take your bait of choice, you put it in there, you stand back here, you pinch open until you hear a click. Done. They're good to go. So that's why customers like these. These are really cost effective. A lot of professionals use these. These can be used over and over again. So can these, but they're going to hold up better, especially in the elements if you go outside. So how much bait do you put on these? Glad you asked. All right. Pro Pest bait right here by JF Oaks. What's so great about this is it's already in a syringe. So you just take this, you pop this cap off like so, and you put a little dot on each trap. That's all you do, just a little dot. You guys probably want to see that, huh? So I'm going to show you. Brand new one, so let me try to get my hand on here. Okay. Done. See the bait cup? Done. That's all you do. Can you use peanut butter? Heck yeah, you can use peanut butter. The cheapest one you can find. This is not the Hilton, okay? We're not trying to feed these things. Buy that generic peanut butter. Does not need to be crunchy. Put it on the trap and catch the rodents. This is just convenient. You pull it out, especially for us professionals. We're up in attics or we're pre-baiting and we got a bunch of traps. It's just bam, 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 bam. Instead of a scoop of peanut butter on a spoon and you're sitting here wiping this off and getting a little here and there, okay? So GF folks, it's fantastic. Use it. It's easy. Here's another pro tip. Pop the little seal cap off the back, shove your peanut butter in, pop the seal cap back on, boom, you're good to go. Just saved you a ton of money. Howtopest.com has all these products, guys. Go there, get the trap of your choice, and then get after it with that rodent trapping. But let's continue on with this video. Now, you picked your trap of choice. This is the edge of your wall. My hand is the wall. You do not want your trap set like this. You do not want your trap set like this. Why? Because if that rodent comes this way and goes over the back of the trap, you're not going to catch that kill shot. He may catch a leg. They'll chew that leg off. Now you've got a bad smell because they go off and die somewhere. And it just made your situation 10 times worse. Now your wife's moving out because not only do you have rodents, but the house stinks. So the trap goes like this against the wall. Their neck is set up as they run along the wall. Why do they run along the wall? Because it's security. They run along that wall because it feels like a secure spot for them. They're not out in the open. They don't feel exposed. Even in the attic, they run along those beams. So set your traps like that. The only time you can set your traps like this is if you put your traps back to back like this, so you get them coming and going. Why would you do that? I don't know. I mean, you're doubling up traps for what purpose? I don't know. People do it. You can do it. I wouldn't recommend it. I'd go this route. I'd go this route. Okay, so that's how you bait those traps. That's how you set them. Okay, guys, we're in the attic now. This is the last place you want to be. It's the last place I want to be. But if the rodents are up in the attic and you want to do this right, this is where you're going to have to be. And I'm going to show you the quick way to do this as quick as possible. You're going to see that I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. I do have the gloves on. You're probably going to want to be in long sleeve because you're going to be dealing with insulation, whether that's blown in insulation or laid in insulation. It'll get into your skin and just wreck your day. So overalls or something long sleeve and long sleeve pants. I'm not going to be getting into it. We've kind of prepped this already. We're just going to show you how those traps should be set. I would recommend a respirator. We use a HEPA respirator, which is just a high efficiency respirator because we're trying to keep everything out of our lungs because we're crawling in this stuff, you know, day in and day out. A little filter mask, like a painter's type, at the least is what I would put on. Otherwise, you are going to choke. You are also going to need yourself a high-powered flashlight. This attic is nice because it already has a light, but a lot of attics do not have lights. And if the camera pans down, it has walking boards, which makes it really easy to get around in this attic. Now, you may have to get off of these boards and get to where those rodents are. We've showed you the type of traps. I just want to show you a couple pro tips that when you set these traps, whether you're using the Jaws traps we showed you or you're using the Victor Snap traps, if you're up in an attic and you don't want that thing to run away if it doesn't catch it right, we attach baling wire to the trap. These have a hole in the back. The Victor Snap traps have a little hook and you can put it through that and then attach it. So let's say you just wanted to attach it around this, you'd wrap it around this, set your trap wherever it's going to be. So whatever you have in the area to wrap that around, it's a great idea. You don't want to chase these traps down, especially in these tight confinements of an attic. So what I've done, I've already taken a Victor trap. This attic has blown insulation. I want the camera to follow me over here. Here's the light. You need to move the insulation out of the way. The rodents are running below the insulation. If they ran on top of the insulation and you put your trap up there, well, first of all, you'd never hear them unless they're gnawing on some wire. You hear them because they're down here, and in the middle of the night, you get the noises like that, if that even picks that up. Now, when you place these traps, this is the way you want these traps set. You're setting them up so as they guide along these 2x4s, their neck is set up to be caught, and then wire that trap to whatever you have in the area. If you need to drill a screw in and wrap the wire around that, A lot of you guys don't have baling wire. We do this all the time, so we use it over and over again. String will work just fine. Attach a string to it, tie it around. We just go industrial strength because we don't want them chewing through anything. But a string will work just fine. So once again, trap goes on the actual drywall itself. It does not go up on here. If it's late insulation, you need to move that out of the way. Now back to what I was saying about that respirator. When you start moving that insulation, it's going to make a lot of this stuff go airborne and you're going to choke on it. So do yourself a favor and wear a respirator. So that is how you are going to do attic trapping. Whether it's rat or mice, it's the same way. It's just a smaller trap versus a bigger trap. Now, if you have blown insulation, like you're seeing how this is blown, they're going to give you indications. Not only will you see droppings, but let's say you don't see droppings. They're going to have what we call tunnel systems, freeways, pathways. There's no technical name for this. It's just a tunnel system of where they have burrowed through, and they'll give you an indication they've been there. So then you would take your trap and you would set it along that runway. So when they come through it, you're setting them up for that catch. You have to monitor these traps on at least a weekly basis. If you don't, you're going to have a bad smell. But when you do have that smell, if you've wired it off, like I said, then you're going to be in good shape. You'll remove, reset the trap. That's how you do attic trapping. All right, we've showed you attic trapping. Now let's show you what to look for in that attic to keep them out. This is how they're getting into your attic. So take your flashlight, and the best thing I like to do is if I can get that light switch flipped off right there next to you, and then I turn my light off when I crawl in an attic, and I look for sunlight. I look for daylight, and that will guide me a lot of times to areas. Once I've done that, then I flip the light on if they have one, and then I turn my flashlight on and I look for those common entry points. If the camera follows my light, these are common entry points. Do you see this pipe up here? A lot of times these are fans, and what they do is they put this pipe through what's called a T-vent on the roof. So if that rodent were to go into that T-vent, he could walk around the circumference of it, not inside the pipe, the outside of the pipe, and now he's into the attic. So you want to look for areas like that and get them sealed up. You can seal them from the inside, but a lot of times it's easier to get on that roof. So you're just going to have to weigh your situation and determine, is it easier to put some hardware cloth around that, staple it in place, or do I need to go on the roof and seal that T-vent up? Now, when I say hardware cloth, it's 1/4-inch hardware cloth. It's almost like chicken wire, but it's a tighter mesh. Go to your local hardware store, tell them to send you over to the roofing or garden section, because a lot of them don't know what hardware cloth is. Tell them you're looking for the chicken wire, and go over there and you'll find hardware cloth. Get 1/4-inch. It's easy to work with. 1/2-inch is going to be stronger, but harder to work with. Now, to cut that, you're going to need what are called tin snips or wire cutters. You pick those up, you cut it to the length you need, and you put it in place with either a screw with a self-tapper if you're going into metal, like on the roof, or right here into the wood. You can staple gun that right into place, and you're good to go. Here's the other thing. Get the camera to follow me over to that vent over there where I'm shaking the light. Look for entry points for gaps around that vent or screen that may have been punched open. A common reason it gets punched open is because somebody comes out to run wire, your cable provider or whatever else it may be. They'll punch a hole to run their wire. They'll never seal that back up. Those are things you want to look for in attics. Look where roof lines meet. This attic is pretty much A-framed. I don't have any soffits that join this up here. Where what I mean is where the roof lines join. We'll show you that when we go outside. So if you do have that, look for that because they're coming up into that eave on the outside and into your attic. Those almost 99% of the time are better to be sealed from the outside. So there you have it. That's what to look for on the inside of the attic as far as entry points. All right, let's talk garages. You're getting them in the garage. You need to look at the door weather stripping. What I mean by that is there's a rubber stripping like this, and you can see me moving, and it's pliable. They'll chew the ends of these, and then it'll leave them a gap to get into the garage itself. So what you do is, if you need to replace it, you need to replace it. And you can go to your local hardware store, and they have strips of this. Just measure out how much you need, and it slides into place. Or worst case scenario, you're going to have to call a garage guy and have him come do it. Now, if you notice there's a gap when you shut this garage door on the corners, then you can adjust the garage door to come down tighter and give you that seal. So even if you are missing this, which you do need to replace, you can make that garage door come down tighter, and it'll prevent those gaps on the side, allowing them to come in. Now, fun story, it wasn't for me. This happened to us at our house. So we had where it wasn't coming down tight enough. They chewed a little bit on the rubber and they were into the garage. My son was young at the time. He came out and he said, "Dad, there are mice in the garage." And I thought it's just his imagination running wild, and they're not there. So he just was persistent on letting me know there's mice in the garage. Dad, there's mice in the garage. So I went ahead and I set some traps on the interior of the garage. Sure enough, the next day I had caught 6 mice, little field mice. So not only that, we sealed that up, but we're going to show you something else you want to look at on the outside of the house. Okay, on the outside perimeter of your home, you want to look for this overhang right here. And a lot of these stucco homes will have what's called a breather hole. It'll be multiple breather holes at the bottom here. And they can travel up into that, and it takes them into the wall. So if you have pipes like this that go into the wall and they have gaps because it wasn't sealed properly or stucco has peeled away, especially clean out holes on the back by your kitchen sinks, you'll see those on walls that have gaps. Once they get in there, they're in the wall. And if they follow that, sometimes it'll lead them directly into the house. You're probably better getting them in the house and getting rid of them versus trying to get them out of the interior wall, because now you're cutting into walls and trying to get them out that way is a pain in the butt. So look for those things to seal up. These breather holes, this is another funny story. Years ago, we were working for a big home builder, and they had some model homes that were getting them under the kitchen sink. And they had mice droppings all over the place. And we did an inspection of the outside. I was brand new to the business, so I knew the basics, but I didn't know anything about weep holes that we just talked about. So let me backtrack a little bit. If you do have those weep holes, you still want that stucco to breathe. The easiest, don't completely seal them up. The easiest way to do it is you just roll up a little bit of copper stuff it or steel wool, and you can just roll that into place and kind of shove it up smooth where it looks fine, and then it still breathes. If you have to do that, it's a tedious job, but if you're having field mice getting in and that's the area they are getting in, you're going to want to do that or need to do that. So the story is, we went out and we said, man, there's droppings on the outside by the clean out. We think the clean out was tight. I think it might be the weep holes, but I wasn't sure. So I just kind of went out on a limb and I said, hey, why don't we stuff those with paper? Another pro tip thing you can do is you can roll paper up there and stuff it. And if there are mice coming or going, they'll either pull the paper in or pull it out. So we went ahead and stuffed it with paper. We set some traps on the inside. On the outside, sure enough, we caught a couple on the outside and a couple on the inside, and the paper was moved. Then and there, I knew weep holes were an issue of how little field mice will get in to the house. And then if I fast forward that story, I got story after story. I actually was mowing the lawn. This is many moons ago, mowing the lawn. I looked over and I saw a trail of ants. And I'm like, what is that? So I stopped the lawnmower. I went over, and a field mouse had gone into the hole. He tried to make it out and somehow got stuck. The ants ate him alive. So it was just the ants just tearing this field mouse up that got stuck in that weep hole. So kind of gross, but they do enter through those weep holes. The outside of the house, look for the holes that we just talked about on any pipes going in, any foundation vents that have been compromised by wires being pushed in, or they're just old and brittle, or the weep holes. All right, guys, this is one of the most common entry points for rodents, and it's your AC line. And you look at this one and you go, it's sealed up. Yeah, this one is sealed up. They did it properly. And on the other side of this tape, it's actually been foam sealed too. But when it's not, or it's deteriorated, or your animal has torn at it and there's a gap, this line goes directly into your wall and it goes up into your attic. So all they have to do is follow this and they're up and in. Once again, go back to that paper method. If you don't know if they're using that, shove some paper in there, leave it for a couple days, put a trap on the outside, and see if you get any activity. You do need to seal it regardless, but maybe it's not the entry point at that time. But this is the first thing we look at homes, AC lines, before we do any of the other stuff. So get that AC line sealed up. All right, guys, we have showed you how to do a rodent job from start to finish. We've showed you the traps we like. That would be these two right here. We've showed you how to bait them. That'd be your bait right there, the JF Oaks. And we've showed you how to place those traps. We've showed you how to place them up in an attic. We've showed you how to place them outside. And then we've showed you what to look for to solve this problem once and for all. Because you can trap all day, but if you don't figure out how they got in, the rats will continue to play. So you need to seal up that hole and figure out where they're getting in and be done with this once and for all. Now, quick thing I just thought about. Do you seal up first and then trap? Question gets asked a lot. We don't. You can go both routes. I'm going to tell you why we don't. Because if I come out to your house and I find all the holes and I seal them up and then I set traps, what if that rat doesn't go to my trap? What if he's in your house and he doesn't go and he's locked in your attic now because he can't come and go? Now you have a bad smell.
What is that smell?
That rodent is eventually going to die and it's going to stink. And let me tell you, a dead field mouse smells as bad as a dead raccoon. A dead body is a dead body, and people don't believe us until we pull a mouse out and they go, there's no way that that was my smell. It is. I've done it. I've seen it. So that's how you do that. If you need these products, we have them at howtopest.com. Please like, subscribe to the channel, guys, and throw us any comments. I'd love to answer your questions. Have a great day.